After nearly 2 decades away from the music scene, Sisqó has finally broken his silence on why he was pushed out of the industry, and his revelation will leave you stunned. Once a dominant force in R&B, he found himself blackballed, serving as yet another reminder of how ruthless the music industry can be, especially when artists refuse to conform to its demands. So grab a seat because you're about to get the full rundown on what really happened to Sisqó's career in the mid-2000s and what led to his sudden downfall. It all started with whispers from music executives, branding him as too difficult to work with. Then came rumors about his sexuality, followed by accusations of being a deadbeat father. Before long, his reputation took a major hit, and his career spiraled. In the end, Sisqó never fully recovered. He eventually stepped away from the limelight to focus on personal projects. But for those who may not have been around when Sisqó was at the top of his game, he was an artist ahead of his time. His electrifying music and bold fashion choices set trends that would later influence artists like Chris Brown, who took inspiration from his style and sound.
Cursed out that one executive at the record label that put me on the blacklist.
Damn. Okay.
It was Leor. There you go. You happy now?
He blacklisted a lot of people.
Right.
In this industry.
I was the first one. I was
Really?
black and I think I started it.
He's so funny.
For starters, Sisqó was best known for his 1999 album Unleash the Dragon, which featured hit singles like Thong Song and Incomplete. If he had maintained that momentum, he could have solidified his place as one of the greatest R&B artists of his time. But not everyone wanted that to happen. Let's start from the very beginning. Born Mark Alpha Van Andrews in November 1978 in Baltimore, Maryland, Sisqó was raised in a traditional black family. His parents, Alonzo and Carolyn Andrews, had 2 children, Sisqó and his older sister, Donisha Lava. His father, an electrician, hoped Sisqó would follow in his footsteps and enrolled him in a vocational high school. However, fate had other plans. It was there that he met Larry J.S. Anthony, James Woody Green, and Tamir Noku Ruffin, his future bandmates. His friends nicknamed him Sisqó because of his curly hair, which gave him a look reminiscent of a Latino. The name stuck with him throughout his career and beyond. At just 14 years old, Sisqó and his 3 friends formed a group called Dru Hill, named after Druid Hill Park in their Baltimore hometown. With Sisqó as the lead singer, the group began performing at local venues, grinding through tough early days before finally making their mark. They all landed minimum wage jobs at a candy factory called The Fudgery, where they made candy and sang to rehearse for their upcoming gigs. It was their way of earning money while pursuing their dreams. Just 2 years after graduating high school, Dru Hill hit it big. In 1996, at just 18 years old, they signed with Island Black Music Records, founded by Hiram Hicks. Their first major single, How Deep Is Your Love, was recorded. However, before that, in 1995, they briefly ventured into gospel music. After their gospel experiment, their manager suggested they travel to New York for a talent competition. Despite some hesitation, they agreed. It was at that competition that Hiram Hicks noticed them and offered a record deal. After experiencing massive success with their debut album, Dru Hill sued Hiram Hicks and his brothers, alleging they had attacked their manager Keith Ingram with a pool cue at a party on May 18, 1997. However, Island Black Music Records denied the allegations, calling them fabricated. To avoid further embarrassment over the lawsuit, the label attempted to settle out of court, offering Dru Hill a $5 million advance and a 20% royalty increase on each album sold. But Dru Hill rejected the offer. Instead of accepting the label's deal, they demanded to be released from their contract and requested a staggering $9 million. About a year after signing with the label, Dru Hill and Island Black Music reached a settlement, and the group ultimately chose to stay. However, the details of their final agreement were never disclosed to the press. Not long after, James Woody Green, a founding member of Dru Hill, made a shocking decision. He left the group. In 1999, Woody Green left the band to pursue a solo career as a gospel artist. The rest of the group followed suit, each member focusing on solo projects. However, they signed an agreement to reunite in 2001 for a new album. Sisqó's solo career soared, particularly with his debut album Unleash the Dragon, which earned him 2 Grammy nominations, one for Best R&B Album and another for Best R&B Song. In total, he was nominated in 4 categories. During this time, he was signed to Def Soul, a subsidiary of Def Jam Records. His hit single Thong Song became a global sensation, reaching the top 10 on European charts and peaking at No. 3 in the UK, Netherlands, and Denmark. But here's the kicker. Rumor has it that Thong Song wasn't originally written for Sisqó. It was reportedly meant for Michael Jackson. According to producers Maris Collins and Tim Kelly, the song had a completely different destiny before it landed in Sisqó's hands.
At the time, me and Tim, we basically were in a creative space thinking about Michael Jackson a lot. We knew we eventually wanted to get on Mike's album, so we were doing a lot of ideas that were out of the box from the normal things people had heard us do. So that was creatively this new sound we were trying to forge before we were even in touch with Sisqó. I know he's adding the kick in. It just sounded very urgent. You knew that it was a game changer. But again, we're thinking Michael Jackson. At the time, we wasn't thinking Sisqó.
On my track, I'd bring in someone from my community. This didn't sit well with executives like Lyor Cohen, who expected artists to follow industry norms. In an interview, Sisqó reflected on the situation, saying, "Once you get to that level of success, you have to play the game. That's what I didn't understand. I thought that once you had success, your job was a Robin Hood situation. You know, I'm from Baltimore, nobody has anything, so when I saw talent, I was hiring my uncle, my cousin, people I knew to run the studio." His approach led to constant clashes with the label. Instead of using industry-approved producers and collaborators, he insisted on working with his own team. This defiance led to industry blackballing, making it harder for him to release music and maintain mainstream success. And then came the Thong Song lawsuit. Ricky Martin sued Sisqó, alleging that he copied the interpretation of Livin' La Vida Loca for his hit single. While it seemed excessive, considering it was based on just 4 words, the lawsuit resulted in a major financial setback for Sisqó. Despite the challenges, Sisqó's impact on R&B and pop culture remains undeniable. His influence can still be seen in the work of artists who came after him. However, his refusal to conform to industry demands may have been the reason he was ultimately pushed out of the mainstream spotlight. Sisqó's refusal to conform didn't sit well with the industry. His platinum blonde hair became a battleground between him and his label. When executives demanded he dye it back to black for the Tell Me music video, he initially agreed, but then secretly re-dyed it blonde during the shoot. When he showed up with his signature look, the label was furious, warning that it would ruin his career. But instead of fading away, his fans embraced it, proving that his individuality was part of his appeal. However, Sisqó's flamboyant style also made him the target of speculation. Rumors about his sexuality circulated, fueled by his fashion choices and stage presence. He shut down the gossip, stating that he was comfortable in his masculinity, but the industry used the rumors to chip away at his credibility. Ultimately, Sisqó's unwillingness to play by industry rules, whether by hiring his own people, keeping his signature style, or refusing to conform to executive demands, led to his blackballing. Despite his talent and influence, the industry wasn't willing to let an artist operate.
Yeah, well, the gay rumors is once again unwarranted. When I guess it was because my hair's blonde. Oh, that's right. Everybody dyeing their hair blonde right now. Everybody's rocking leather right now. Everybody's doing everything I did back in the day. Are they gay too? All right. I guess the silence has it. Nobody asked nobody else what they gay, but I'm gay. I'm just a trailblazer, dude. I'm at the top of the list. I take risk because I'm not insecure about myself or my manhood, so I can do whatever I feel like I want to do to express myself as an artist, and it kind of one of those things that I was able to do first, so that young artists now can express themselves without having fear of being called gay.
And the rest, as they say, is history. The allegations sent shockwaves through the industry, further tarnishing Sisqó's reputation. Although the claims were never widely publicized in mainstream media, they contributed to the growing controversies surrounding his name. As if things couldn't get worse, Sisqó attempted to revive his career by reuniting with Dru Hill, but their comeback failed to meet expectations. Their album underperformed, with critics and fans alike calling it a flop. Then, in 2003, more trouble struck when Sisqó and his then-girlfriend were arrested for allegedly firing shots at a neighbor's car outside their home. Though he was eventually released, his public image took yet another hit. For years, Sisqó remained out of the limelight until 2015, when he attempted a comeback with his independent record label Dragon Music and his album Last Dragon. Despite his efforts, he was never fully welcomed back into the mainstream industry. In a later interview with ABC News, Sisqó confirmed what many had suspected. He had been blackballed by music executives after refusing to conform to their demands. Despite it all, in 2018, Sisqó found happiness in his personal life, marrying his longtime partner Elizabeth in Minneapolis after 15 years together. Ever the showman, he even performed Thong Song at the wedding, proving that while the industry may have turned its back on him, his legacy remains intact. And just like that, history was made. But while Sisqó's success skyrocketed, the controversies that followed nearly destroyed his career. After facing legal trouble, he attempted a comeback by reuniting with Dru Hill, only for their album to flop, leaving fans disappointed. Then, in 2003, things took another dark turn when Sisqó and his then-girlfriend were arrested for allegedly firing shots at a neighbor's parked car. Following his release, he seemingly disappeared from the spotlight until 2015, when he launched his own record label, Dragon Music, and dropped Last Dragon. Despite his efforts, he later revealed to ABC News that he had been blackballed by the industry for refusing to conform. But when it came to his personal life, Sisqó found happiness. In 2018, he married his longtime partner, Elizabeth, in Minneapolis after 15 years together. And in true Sisqó fashion, he performed Thong Song at the reception, joking that it was because her thong would be the last one he'd ever see. Among the many rumors that followed him, one that Sisqó found amusing was the claim that he once dated Beyoncé. To avoid any drama with Jay-Z, he quickly shut it down, explaining that they were simply friends who happened to be around each other in the industry's early days. Realizing the music industry wasn't as welcoming as before, Sisqó shifted gears. He launched a clothing line, started writing children's books, and focused on building his own businesses. Despite being shut out by mainstream music executives, he insists he's thriving, calling the shots on his own terms. But now, the real question is, do you think Sisqó is gearing up for a major comeback? Or is he done with the industry for good? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more explosive stories like this.